What's up? Welcome to Two Bros and Whiskey. I'm Dev.
I'm Shane.
And today we have Lagavulin 11 year.
The Nick Offerman edition. I got it.
Okay,
Shit.
jumping the gun.
Yeah, just a bit. I'm excited for this one. So this is pretty much just, or very similar to the, I want to say the 16 year, but it's been aged in
Guinness barrels.
Yeah, you got it.
Here's the 16 year too, just as like a side by side.
Almost exactly the same. But I'm really stoked on this one because you can, at least we got a very little bit left, but the flavor profile kind of changed from when it was near the neck. That nose.
Right up front, I'm getting like the smokiness like you would with any other scotch.
And I'm getting the sweetness. Like you can smell like the chocolate.
You can really
Coffee.
get like that stout smell from it.
Also, if you may notice, we're like breathing with our mouth open as like an exhaust, because this is actually 46%, pretty high for a isla. Still fucked up. Oh, you went for it. Okay.
So right away, it tastes like when you're barbecuing something and you open up the barbecue lid and you get that big gust of smoke. That's exactly what it tastes like at first. It definitely evolves though.
Yeah, because like at the end, I'm getting citrus. Like dried fruits.
I don't really get too much citrus right at the beginning.
No, it's definitely at the end.
Yeah.
It's definitely at the end there.
I for sure, it definitely tastes like the chocolate, the Guinness taste to it. It does taste different than like when we first got this bottle. It's
Yeah.
closer to the neck. But this bottle's also been open for at least,
I want to say a few months.
2-3 months now. And so once the air gets in there and it kind of aerates, the flavor's going to change a little bit. One thing I did want to mention about this too is because it is a Isla, you're not going to want to like jump into this right away.
No, this is not an entry level kind of scotch by any means. I would say like Lagavulin and like Lefroy, some of those like stronger ones, are definitely not the kind that you just like pick up. But then again, who am I to say? I did my whole whiskey journey backwards. It started with Isla.
We both did it backwards. In an ideal world, if you're trying to get into whiskey, you're probably going to want to start with like an Irish whiskey or a bourbon of some sort.
That's what a lot of people.
And then maybe work up your way to ryes and then scotches. But
Or maybe two Irish.
yeah. It all depends too,
Yeah.
but I personally I hate ryes, so
I love ryes. I love the extremes, like the really strong flavors like the Isla and the ryes, but I don't really care for just like bourbon. It all tastes the same to me. But this does not taste the same, even
no, not at all.
compared to the Lagavulin 16. You can definitely tell the difference. Like they made something special with this one for Nick. Like,
And this one too, they definitely did a limited run of this. This isn't one that's going to be available all the time.
Yeah, I got this one at Costco and picked it up for like I think $90, and like I think
That
list
was
price-
on sale too.
and it was
right?
on sale. Yeah, like comparatively to like Total Wine, which was like 110, 120, something like that. But I mean, when I'm getting over in Arizona, I don't know if this is like a Costco thing that they intermittently have, but that's where I picked it up, and it was a steal. That's why I had to get it.
You know what's crazy too? Like when you were talking right there, I went and smelled it a little bit, and now I'm starting to smell like a lot more sweetness to it. Like the kind of like the chocolatey caramel.
Are
I'm
you
getting
getting
a
some
lot
of
of that now in the nose.
You get some of that like I want to say shortbread cookie, which is really characteristic of most scotches. It's starting to get some of that shit. The baking spice.
And now that I'm sipping on it too, I am getting more of like the baking spices, like the nutmeg, clove. Not so much like cinnamon, but definitely like nutmeg and clove.
I'm getting something bitter in there, so yeah, like you were saying, clove. That's probably it.
I don't really taste too much of the chocolate now.
Interesting enough, I was thinking the same thing. It's not as prominent as it was at first. We did have coffee earlier, so I don't know if that has much to do with it, because, that could definitely...
What you have prior to drinking, too, does kind of influence the taste of whatever you're having. I'm starting to definitely... I don't know what the right word is.
I keep getting that, like, citrus.
I'm tasting something and smelling something, but I can't quite figure out what it is. I think definitely it's really dry now.
Dry?
Like, if that makes sense, like it's dry.
Mm-hmm.
And like the mouthfeel to it too, it's not sticky. If you know what I mean, like.
I was actually just looking at see that?
It's weird because
it doesn't actually have like a lot of sugar, which sometimes like with wines or like other bourbons specifically got a lot of sugar. You'll see that.
And it's weird too because like when you're looking at it in the glass, it looks like it'd be oily, like have an oily texture to it.
It's not as oily as I expected.
This one, I would say, honestly, I would recommend this. If you're more into scotches, I would say this would definitely be a good one. If you can find it, pick it up for sure.
If you're into Isla, and especially if you already are familiar with Lagavulin, this is great. Or even if you're not, I would say this is a good way to get into it. It's definitely more expensive, and especially like you're going to be dropping close to $100. So this isn't just like a budget by any means. But if you are familiar with Scotch, or if you're familiar with Lagavulin, familiar with Isla, I recommend this.
I would say, like, if you're trying to dabble in Islas, this might be a good one too, because it does have that chocolatey kind of stout taste to it.
It could be a little bit more gateway-ish if you're already familiar.
But if you've never really like drank Scotch, this is not one that you're going to want to jump into right away.
It's not just one that's going to be a very good introductory kind of one.
Yeah, absolutely not. All in all, though, I think... Okay. If you had to put this on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you put it at?
Ooh. That's tough. I want to say at least 7.
I was thinking 7.5.
Yeah, around that. Like, it's really good. It's up there.
It is really good. I just think that... if you're paying that much for it, I get like the amount of work that went into this because it had to be aged for so long. And you do have to take that into account when you're drinking more expensive whiskeys. But I think just the fact too, like again, the fact that it did change the flavor so much after it's been aerated, a really good high quality whiskey, it's not going to be that noticeable. And I think for the price of it, if it would have been about the same, I think it would have been a little bit different. I probably would boost it up to about a 9.
I don't know. I kind of like that it changed a little bit because sometimes I like discovering different flavors.
Here's the thing too. You also had COVID. So your taste could be a little bit different than mine right now.
Definitely. That is something to factor in. My taste's been fucked since then.
All in all though, I would say it's a really good one. I would recommend it.
Big time.
If you ever see it at like a bar or something, it's probably going to be pretty expensive for just a 2-ounce pour.
It would be worth it though, because like I've tried other scotches at different bars and been kind of underwhelmed. So
you know what this makes me think of like when I'm drinking it? It really makes me think of like a dessert scotch. Like if you're having like something like cake or like a brownie, like something sweet. This would go really well with that.
It would definitely pair well with some like sweet stuff.
You know what it would also pair really well with? Like a really deep, like robust, like cigar.
Oh,
with
well.
like a coffee flavor to it.
Or yeah. I'm not a big cigar guy, but I can see what you're talking about.
You're picking up what I'm putting down.
I'm picking up what you're throwing down. I can get down with that sickness.
I did want to mention too, before we wrap it up, because we're almost there, but when we drank this the first time, we had Guinness and we tried it, you can really taste the Guinness in there.
Yeah.
So if you're like a big stout person or you like Guinness is my favorite beer, so I love this. But if you're a big stout person, I think you would like this for sure. That was all for me. Is there anything? Cool,
I just say I love Lagavulin.
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching.
Thank you for being there.
Whiskey. More videos are going to be coming out pretty soon. We have a pretty cool one planned that should be out in a few days. So once you see this, it's going to be fun. The next one's going to be really fun. We're going to have a couple of our guest features.
Yeah.
So
might have a couple people popping in.
That's going to be really cool. Definitely stay tuned. Follow us on Instagram, dev_friend_.
Brohemian_Grove.
So you'll know where to find us. Take it easy.